Alright, Axis and Allies, 1942, second edition. So in one of my last videos actually, I received a comment about someone not quite understanding submarine combat and tank blitzing. So in this video I'm just going to go ahead and kind of explain that. I've set up a few things here on the board. We'll go ahead and start off tank blitzing first. So tank blitzing, before you can really know what it is, you have to kind of know the specs of the tank. So I set up Russia here. This is their starting setup. I used their cards to set this up. So this would be how it is in each of these spaces I decided to set up. That's how this would start the game. Obviously, you wouldn't be doing any blitzing in the first round, but I'll use this as an example. So the tank, if we check right down here, it's trying to get some of that glare out. That might be really hard to read. There you go. That says tank, trust me. So it costs 6. You can move 2, attack at a 3, and defend at a 3. So tank blitzing is basically just going through unoccupied hostile territories. So here's the setup. Say you wanted to kind of go in the West Russia. You go into West Russia, but that's all you can do because there's enemies, and once you encounter an enemy unit, you have to stop. But say, for some reason, Germany did not have these units right here. So West Russia didn't have any units on there. So you could take your tank, and you could kind of blitz through that. So it has moves of 2, so you could go 1, 2, and conduct combat in, I'm going to mispronounce this, I know you guys are going to say something in the comments. Belorussia. Yep. Belorussia. I'm calling it another Russia. Anyways, so you could conduct the combat in there. And you can actually take both your tanks if you want, or even a third tank. However, once you blitz through that territory, so that was an unoccupied territory right there, you would go ahead and take one of Russia's victory markers and place it onto that territory. And then, obviously, I don't have it set up currently because I'm not actually playing the game right now. But if it was, then there would be markers up here and you would alter it up there. One thing I like to do, instead of turn it over, first off, I just like to turn it so the white side is facing up. And then at the end of Russia's turn, you would just turn that over and edit the tile counts. So now we know we just blitzed through West Russia in order to conduct combat in that tile right there. So we would go ahead and do that. So like, you just roll the dice. Oh look, 3 hits. We won, and then roll it again. And we lost 2 guys. So that obviously was not the smartest of moves. But we did blitz through that. We still won. We lost 2 guys. And so forth with that. So we won that. And then we would just get another marker. So another Russian piece. And put that down onto that tile right there. Whatever name it is. Because I'm not going to pronounce that again. So anyways, that is just the basics of tank blitzing. You can't blitz through an occupied hostile zone. So if there were units, which there were at the beginning of the video, on West Russia, you cannot blitz. You would have to conduct combat first and just move on from there. So that's basically tank blitzing. We're going to go ahead and move on to submarine combat. So subs, like many of the sea units, have special abilities. There we go. I can speak, kind of. So a submarine, it's just unit. It's just this unit right here. If you don't know what it is, or if this is your first time being introduced into this game, I'll just go ahead and go over what a sub is. I doubt you can see that, but I'll go ahead and read it off. So they cost 6. They have move of 2, attack of 2, and defense of 1. So one thing with subs, they can submerge if battle comes. So say the United Kingdom, they've got their boats over here. and they send a battleship into battle. The submarine now has a choice, or the submarines actually, because there's two of them, now have a choice to either submerge, and you would just flip it on its side. That's what I like to do. Or if you were using the game board sheet, I guess. I don't know what this is called. I'll have to look that up later. I don't know what it's called. I forgot the name. You just remove it from there, put it back on the game board. So they could submerge and not go into battle. But say the United Kingdom also sends in a destroyer. A destroyer has a unique ability. They can prevent subs from sinking. If you have a destroyer in battle, subs cannot sink. They have to fight in the battle. And the battle would go on. You would either keep it on the board, which is what I like to do, or you can take it over to the, I think it's called a battle strip. I want to say it's called a battle strip. Put the units down at each of the marks, all the dice, of course. And you got a 2, whatever that ship was for, or something. So that would be that. So if there's a destroyer in the same sea zone, they cannot submerge. However, say now it's Germany's turn, and they want to go ahead and move these subs, just because they've got a lot of bad guys around. And obviously there would be more ships and such on the board. I went ahead and added those ones up there, which are part of the game. So subs can also move through hostile sea zones. Unlike all these land combats, once you encounter an enemy, you have to stop. Subs can just go right through sea zones because of their ability to submerge. So say I want to go ahead and kind of combine my forces. So on my combat move, I could go ahead and move these guys through Sea Zone 17 because they can submerge, and into Sea Zone 6. That would be 2 moves with the sub. And then on my non-combat move, I could move the rest of my fleet over into the same zone. So I could put all those together. They can go through sea zones. However, I'm going to go ahead and move those guys back. However, if there is a destroyer in the sea zone, then they cannot go through. If they enter the sea zone, they must conduct combat in that sea zone. And so they wouldn't be able to jump on through to Sea Zone 6. Now, submarines also have a kind of special attack. They get a surprise strike. So say I'm going to go ahead and move those guys back into Sea Zone 7, but this time, instead of going right through, I want to conduct combat. So a surprise strike is kind of like attack on its own. So you have submarine surprise strikes. Then after that, you would do attacker strikes, which would be on the same thing, kind of would be right after another. And then defenders attacks. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and switch hands real quick. I've got 2 subs, and there's 1 battleship in there. So I could roll these dice right here. I'm going to go ahead and roll it. And it looks like I missed both times. But say I roll a 1, which would be within the 2 range, and then I roll a 2 or something like that. That would be 2 hits. And it takes 2 hits to kill a battleship. So the 2 hits could go on that. It would kill it instantly, and obviously that can't defend. And you can only take... I forgot what that was called. A transport. That's what it is. A transport is the last ship to be taken out of a fleet. And so the battleship usually would have a chance to defend, but since this was a surprise strike, it would not have a chance to defend with that. However, say, again, the sea zone contains a destroyer, and I wasn't going through to Sea Zone 6, I was just stopping right up here. I would no longer get that surprise strike. I forgot what these... destroyers, sorry about that. Destroyers prevent surprise strikes and prevent submarines from moving through. So I would no longer get that surprise strike. It would just be normal combat. So say I roll and I got a 1 and 4, but say this was actually a 2 again. I get 2 hits, and they would probably take a half off there and kill their destroyer. However, now both the destroyer and battleship get a chance to defend since this was not a surprise strike. If it was a surprise strike, then it would just kill the ship if I got 2 hits off, and it would not have a chance to defend. But since that destroyer was in that sea zone, then what's the words I'm thinking of? Then it would not go through as a surprise strike. However, say I'm going to go ahead and just grab a submarine real quick out of the bag. And I'm sorry if I'm not pointing this camera directly at everything currently. My apologies. Oh, if I could find a submarine. Aha, there we go. So, now say I take my 2 subs into battle once again. This time, there's that battleship in the battle, as well as the destroyer, and now a submarine. Since Germany does not have a destroyer, this submarine now gets a surprise strike for the other side. So we roll the dice, surprise strike, let's see what we got. We got a 3. Let's go ahead and just change that into a 2 for video's sake. Say we rolled a 2, that would automatically kill one of my submarines. Since there's a destroyer that they have, I would not also be able to do a surprise strike. I would just lose that ship and continue on with battle. And then I would roll for my submarine. Let's say, oh, I got a 3, so I missed. Oh well. And then the battleship would roll, destroyer would roll. However, that submarine would not roll again. Once it's rolled for the surprise strike, it's done for that mini battle that happens. I'm going to go ahead and just take everything away real quick and move it on down to Sea Zone 9. Say I go into battle. With this, there would be 2 surprise strikes. A surprise strike for the attacker, which would be Germany, and for the defender, which would be the United Kingdom. So a surprise strike would go on. Say I roll a 2. It would automatically kill that, but since this one also has a surprise strike, it could roll, and say it rolls a 2, it would kill 1 for 1, and then combat would continue like that. And then if there was a battleship in here, both sides would still get a surprise strike. Germany could go first, or would go first because they're attacking. Say they got a 2 and a 2, it would automatically take 2 hits. Sorry about that. That would obviously take one out on that and probably the sub. But the sub also has a surprise strike, so the sub could then attack with a surprise strike, even though it just was killed in that surprise strike. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And say there was also a cruiser in there. The cruiser would not be involved in the surprise strike. Say the sub fired. I would have to take out on one of these ships, most likely a sub, and it would kill that, but the sub would still have their surprise strike as well to attack. So hopefully that was not too confusing, and hopefully I pointed the camera in the correct spots. My apologies if it was not pointed directly at any of the battles that were going on. I tried to make sure. If you still have any questions about how tank blitzing works, or submarine combat in general, go ahead and just leave your question down in the comments, and I'll try to answer it best I can. Basically, this is kind of like a universal system for subs and tanks. So any Axis and Allies game you would play, you would follow the same rules for tank blitzing and submarine combat. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll just see you next time, I guess. Hopefully I'll make another video. Have a good one.